This tiny 1-cent coin could be hiding a secret worth thousands of dollars, and most people never even notice it. What if I told you that the penny in your pocket right now might be the exact one collectors are desperately searching for? One small mistake on a regular-looking penny can turn it from useless change into a rare treasure overnight. You've probably spent it without a second thought, but some of these pennies are worth life-changing money. Before you ignore your next coin, you need to see what experts are actually looking for in everyday pennies. A regular penny from 1995 is quietly making headlines in the collector world. A simple coin that most people would never look at twice might actually be hiding a secret that could change everything you think you know about pocket change. The 1995 D 1-cent penny coin looks completely ordinary at first glance, the kind of coin that ends up forgotten in jars, drawers, or under car seats. But what if that same coin, something you might have handled without a second thought, was quietly connected to a world where collectors search for perfection, errors, and rarity in the smallest details? That's exactly what makes this penny so fascinating, because sometimes the most common objects carry the most surprising stories. The 1995 D Lincoln cent was minted at the Denver Mint in the United States during a time when billions of pennies were being produced to keep up with everyday circulation demand. It belongs to the long-running Lincoln Memorial Cent series, which began in 1959 and continued for decades. By 1995, the U.S. Mint was producing coins at a massive scale, and the Denver Mint Mark D became a familiar sign stamped under the date. This coin was never meant to be rare. It was created to pass through millions of hands in everyday transactions, quietly serving its purpose without attracting attention. Yet history has a strange way of turning the ordinary into something extraordinary. On the front of the coin, Abraham Lincoln's profile faces right, a design originally created by Victor David Brenner in 1909 and still admired for its detail and dignity. On the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial stands proudly, designed by Frank Gasparo, showing even the tiny statue of Lincoln inside the monument if you look closely enough. The coin is made primarily of a zinc core coated with a thin layer of copper, giving it that familiar reddish-brown shine. It weighs about 2.5 grams and feels almost identical to any modern penny you would find in circulation. This simplicity is exactly why so many people overlook it, even when something unusual might be hiding in plain sight. The small D mint mark under the date is what identifies it as being struck in Denver. While most 1995 D pennies are extremely common, this tiny detail is still important for collectors because mint location can sometimes play a role in rarity, especially when errors occur. The Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of these coins, but not all coins are created perfectly. In the world of numismatics, even the smallest mistake during production can turn an ordinary coin into something highly desirable. Some versions of the 1995 D penny contain rare minting errors that make collectors stop and pay attention. These can include misaligned strikes, die cracks, off-center impressions, or extremely rare double die variations where the design appears slightly duplicated due to a minting error. While most people would never notice these details, trained collectors examine coins under magnification, searching for anything that breaks the pattern of normal production. In rare cases, when multiple unique errors combine with strong visual quality, the value can rise dramatically, with exceptional examples reaching around $80,000 depending on condition and rarity factors. But what makes this even more intriguing is how unpredictable these coins can be. Two pennies from the same year, same mint, and same production line can have completely different values depending on microscopic differences. A slight shift in the die, a faint doubling in the lettering, or an unusual strike pressure can completely change the story of a coin. That's why collectors never dismiss modern pennies too quickly, because even recent coins can sometimes hold surprises that were never intended by the mint. As we go deeper, the real mystery of the 1995 D penny begins to reveal itself. Most people assume valuable coins must be old, silver, or visually unique, but this penny challenges that belief. It proves that rarity is not always about age, but about imperfection and scarcity within mass production. Somewhere out there, a handful of these coins may still exist in everyday circulation, unnoticed, waiting in coin jars and collections, hiding in plain sight, while their true value remains undiscovered. And this is where things become even more exciting. While common examples of the 1995D penny may only be worth face value, and moderately interesting error coins might bring a few dollars or hundreds, the truly extraordinary specimens, those with highly dramatic minting anomalies, near-perfect preservation, and verified rarity, can reach astonishing levels. In the most exceptional cases known to collectors, values have climbed as high as $120,000, turning a simple 1-cent piece into a life-changing discovery for the lucky finder. So the next time you come across a handful of change, don't rush to ignore it. Take a closer look at those small copper-colored coins, because history has a funny way of hiding treasures in everyday places. If you found this interesting, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned, because the next coin we explore might be sitting in your pocket right now, waiting to tell its story. One small detail on a 2,000 cent can completely change its value. At first glance, it looks like the most ordinary thing in your pocket. A small copper-colored coin, passed from hand to hand, dropped into jars, forgotten in drawers, and used without hesitation for the smallest purchases. The 2001 cent penny coin is exactly that kind of coin, familiar, common, and completely unremarkable to most people. But what if that same coin, something you might have ignored dozens of times, was quietly carrying a hidden story that only a few collectors truly understand? That is where the real journey of this penny begins. The year 2000 was a time when the United States Mint was producing Lincoln cents in enormous quantities to meet everyday circulation needs. These coins were not created with rarity in mind, but with practicality. Millions upon millions of pennies were struck across different mint facilities, including Philadelphia and Denver, each marked or unmarked depending on where they were produced. The 2000 penny belongs to the long-running Lincoln Memorial Cent series, a design that had already been in circulation for decades and would continue until 2008. Its purpose was simple: to represent everyday value, the smallest unit of currency in daily life. On the front of the coin, Abraham Lincoln's portrait faces right, a design originally crafted by Victor David Brenner and first introduced in 1909. Over time, this portrait became one of the most recognized images in American coinage history. On the reverse side, the Lincoln Memorial stands in precise detail, with tiny architectural features that include the seated statue of Lincoln inside the structure. It is a design that quietly honors history, yet most people never pause long enough to appreciate the craftsmanship pressed into such a small surface. The 2000 penny is made from a copper-plated zinc composition, meaning its core is mostly zinc with a thin layer of copper coating on the outside. This change in composition began in 1982 when rising copper prices forced the U.S. Mint to adjust production methods. The coin weighs about 2.5 grams and feels light in the hand, but its simplicity hides the precision involved in its creation. Every coin had to be struck with exact pressure, aligned perfectly, and inspected for major defects before entering circulation. The mint mark plays an important role in identifying where the coin was made. If you see a D under the date, it was minted in Denver. If there is no mint mark, it came from Philadelphia. While most 2000 pennies are extremely common regardless of mint location, collectors still pay attention to these details because certain combinations of errors and mint conditions can turn an ordinary coin into something far more interesting than expected. What makes the 2000 penny especially fascinating in the world of collectors is not its age or design, but the rare mistakes that sometimes occurred during production. In high-speed minting environments, errors can slip through the system. Some coins may show slight doubling in the lettering, known as a double die error, while others might be struck slightly off-center or carry unusual die cracks that create raised lines across the surface. These imperfections are not intentional. They are the result of mechanical pressure, alignment issues, or worn-out dies during mass production. Most people would never notice these small irregularities. But under magnification, collectors search carefully for anything that separates one coin from millions of others. It is in these subtle differences that value sometimes emerges. A perfectly preserved 2000 penny with a strong mint error can attract attention from numismatists who understand how rare such combinations truly are. In certain cases where condition and error type align in a highly desirable way, these coins can reach surprising levels of interest, sometimes valued around a few $100s or more, depending on collector demand and grading. Still, the real intrigue of the 2000 penny is not just about money. It is about the idea that something so ordinary can carry hidden uniqueness. Two coins minted seconds apart on the same production line can end up with completely different futures. One becomes worn down in circulation, barely noticed, while another might accidentally leave the mint with a subtle flaw that transforms its identity forever. That unpredictability is what keeps collectors constantly searching through rolls of pennies, hoping to find something special hidden among the ordinary. As time passes, most 2000 pennies continue to disappear into everyday use, becoming less noticed and more forgotten. Yet in the collecting world, modern coins like this are gaining attention because they represent a relatively new frontier. Unlike ancient coins, these pieces are still widely available, meaning discoveries are still possible. Every handful of change has the potential, however small, to contain something unusual waiting to be recognized. And this is where curiosity becomes important. While the majority of 2000 pennies will always remain common, standard coins used in daily transactions, a select few with rare minting anomalies continue to stand out. In exceptional cases where the error is dramatic, the condition is nearly flawless, and collector demand is high, values can climb significantly, turning what was once a 1-cent piece into something far more remarkable than anyone expected. So before you overlook that next penny in your pocket or coin jar, take a closer look. Rotate it under the light. Check the details. Look for anything that feels slightly different from the rest. Because sometimes, history hides in the smallest places, and the 2001-cent coin is proof that even the most ordinary objects can still hold extraordinary stories. And if you enjoy uncovering these hidden treasures, make sure to subscribe, because the next coin we explore might already be sitting in your home, waiting to be discovered. You've probably seen this coin before, but never looked closely enough. One small error on a 2002 penny could turn pocket change into a fortune. At first glance, it is the definition of something forgettable. A small copper-colored coin that slips through your fingers without a second thought. The kind of change you receive at a store and immediately drop into a wallet or jar without even looking at it. The 2002 1-cent penny coin feels ordinary in every sense, almost invisible in daily life. But what if that same coin, sitting unnoticed in your home right now, carried a hidden story that most people never stop long enough to discover? The 2002 penny was struck at the Denver Mint in the United States during a period when billions of Lincoln cents were being produced for everyday circulation. It belongs to the Lincoln Memorial Cent series, one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. By 2002, the U.S. Mint had perfected high-speed mass production techniques, meaning coins were being produced rapidly, efficiently, and in enormous quantities. The D Mint mark under the date simply tells us it was made in Denver, but beyond that small letter lies a much deeper world of detail that collectors pay close attention to. The design itself is familiar, yet iconic. On the front, Abraham Lincoln's portrait faces right, a design originally created by Victor David Brenner in 1909. It has remained one of the most enduring portraits in U.S. coinage, symbolizing honesty and leadership. On the reverse side, the Lincoln Memorial stands tall and detailed, with columns, steps, and even a tiny representation of the seated statue of Lincoln visible inside the structure if examined closely. It is a remarkable piece of miniature architecture pressed into metal, something most people never truly appreciate while handling it in everyday transactions. The 2002 penny is made from a copper-plated zinc composition, a standard used since 1982 when the rising cost of copper forced the U.S. Mint to change materials. It weighs about 2.5 grams and feels light, smooth, and completely ordinary. Yet despite its simplicity, each coin goes through a complex minting process involving high-pressure strikes, metal dies, and precise alignment. Even a slight inconsistency during this process can result in something unusual, something that collectors later search for with great interest. Most 2002 pennies entered circulation without issue, blending into everyday commerce without ever being noticed. But in rare cases, mistakes happen during minting. These errors are where the real fascination begins. Some coins may show doubled lettering, where parts of the design appear slightly shadowed or repeated due to a misalignment in the die. Others may have small die cracks, creating raised lines across Lincoln's portrait or the memorial building. There are even cases of off-center strikes, where the design is not perfectly aligned with the coin's circular shape, giving it a shifted appearance. To the average person, these differences might seem minor or meaningless, but to collectors, they are clues, signatures of imperfection that can transform an ordinary coin into something rare. The world of numismatics is built on this idea that perfection is common, but mistakes are unique, and uniqueness creates value. A well-preserved 2002D penny with a noticeable and verified mint error can sometimes attract serious collector attention. In certain situations where the error is dramatic, the coin is in excellent condition, and demand is high, values can climb significantly, with rare examples reaching around $80,000. That number surprises many people, especially when it is attached to something as small and ordinary as a 1-cent coin. But in the collector's world, rarity often matters more than age or material. What makes this even more intriguing is that most people who handle these coins every day have no idea what to look for. A coin might pass through hundreds of hands, be used in countless transactions, and still carry a hidden feature that no one notices. This creates a quiet mystery inside everyday life. How many valuable coins have already been spent without being recognized? The 2002D penny also represents a transitional era in modern coin production. It sits in a time when digital minting technology was improving, quality control was becoming stricter, yet imperfections still managed to slip through. That balance between precision and human-machine error is what makes coins from this period interesting to collectors. They are modern enough to be found in circulation, yet old enough to contain surprising variations that were never intended. As years pass, these coins slowly disappear from everyday use, replaced by newer issues and worn down by time. But their potential story remains intact. Somewhere out there, a 2002D penny with a rare minting anomaly could still be sitting unnoticed in a jar, a drawer, or even inside a forgotten piggy bank. The possibility is what keeps collectors searching, examining, and hoping. And this is where the story becomes even more fascinating. While most 2002D pennies will always remain common and only worth face value, the rarest examples, those with exceptional errors, strong visual appeal, and near-perfect preservation, can reach astonishing levels. In the most extreme and verified cases, collectors have seen values climb as high as $120,000, turning a simple 1-cent coin into a life-changing discovery. So the next time you receive change, don't be too quick to ignore it. Take a moment. Look closer at the small details. Check the date. Notice the mint mark. Because sometimes, the most ordinary-looking objects carry extraordinary secrets, and the 2002D 1-cent penny might be one of them. And if you enjoy uncovering these hidden stories, make sure to subscribe, because the next coin we explore might already be in your hands, waiting to be discovered.